you. So, Siobhan, Annette, wherever you are, CSU, thank you for having me. As you have heard, I am Simone, and you probably know of me as the co-founder of 365 Cups and Working Spaces HQ. But first and foremost, I am a human being. I am a wife and a super mum. I've got a 12-year-old boy, Josh, and a 12-month-old baby, Jet. I am of the vintage 1976, so I'm 42. And I am passionate about a lot of things, and one of those things is TED Talks. So this is my all-time favourite TED Talk. It's called How to Start a Movement by Derek Sivers. And I do use it in a lot of my presentations, and the reason why is because it's a great startup TED Talk. And I'm not going to play it for you today, but what I'm going to do is borrow that framework of TED. Now, does anyone actually know what TED stands for? Anybody? Any favourite TED Talks in the crowd? No? TED stands for Technology, Entertainment and Design. So the TED conference was actually founded in 1984. So that would have made me an 8-year-old, and there was 2 other significant events that happened in 1984. Does anyone want to have a guess? Someone else said that, LA Olympics, that was pretty cool, but no. So in 1984, we had the very first Apple Macintosh computer, yeah? And Sony released this shiny silver thing called a CD-ROM. Am I like the only one feeling like a dinosaur right now? Yeah? So the idea of TED is to, the founders kind of coined this term of information architecture. So usually you go to a conference and it's about one thing only. So with technology, entertainment and design, we're kind of merging these 3 fields, and it's about making information accessible, and I hope that's what we can do here tonight. So I don't know if the founders could ever imagined what TED is today. So from 1984, in the 90s, we had Wired magazine, which had a big impact on the design world, and we also had this little thing called the internet. So thanks to the internet and technology, TED is what it is today, which is so wide apart from what it started with. So on the screen here that leads us into technology, I've got an explanation from the dictionary and also an explanation from Wikipedia. So what I've got here is, it's actually a very short version, but what I've highlighted here is the word craft from Wikipedia, the science of craft. So technology has taken me around the world, and it has brought me here to be with you today through my startup. And as Siobhan said, I use tech to work for you, for me, and that's kind of manifested through 365 Cups. But ironically, I kind of landed where I did because I am a graphic designer, and that industry, I actually worked in the newspaper industry. I worked here at the Daily Advertiser, and that has been completely disrupted by technology. So I'm actually redundant and had to reinvent myself. But while we talk about technology, people often think computers and the internet, but what we're really talking about is STEM, or STEAM, or STEAM plus human beings, which is what I've kind of coined for you today, just to keep you all on your toes. So STEM or STEAM is science, tech, engineering, arts and maths. It is all driven by humans for humans. And what I want you to think about is they're not isolated. It's all kind of this stuff working together with the internet and computers and all of that stuff. And can someone Google me when the iPad was released? Anyone going to Google for me? Yep. So you can see STEM or STEAM, like Siobhan said, with these kind of skills that are required from kids of communication, analytics. It's not just all tech or coding. And we can see STEM in our cars, like our car gearboxes aren't just mechanical gearboxes anymore. They've got computers attached to them. We can see it with medicine, aviation, and probably something you're all very familiar with is communication. So STEM has completely changed how we communicate. So I'm talking about Google, Facebook, the internet, and how we communicate. Do we have a date yet? 2010. So that's not even 10 years ago. So we've got, you know, from STEM and STEAM and technology, we've got all these things. So leading on from STEM or tech, we've got entertainment. Now, I've got this image for you because it's kind of ironic that, who remembers when TVs looked like this? Anyone? Yeah. So the ironic thing about this is this image is actually impossible. Like where do you plug that in? But actually today we can watch TV at the beach because of our devices. So 8-year-old Simone in 1984 would have been living for my Sunday night movie and Young Talent Time. Are you with me? I'm like feeling like a dinosaur. I don't know when, but we got a VCR. That was like amazing. Anyone have a VCR in the 80s? How about, stay with me, a remote control with a cord? Like, wow. So you didn't have to get up and press pause on the VCR when you're filming your Sunday night movie to skip the ads. Yeah? Yeah. So entertainment has completely changed or been revolutionised because of STEM, because we can watch our TVs at the beach and, you know, all these things that actually don't even exist anymore, a VCR, etc. So back to this image and this TV. The TV I remember when I grew up was actually one of those brown things that had the 4 legs. Do you remember, did you have a TV like that? So, and the TVs, I guess, from my research or from what I know, TVs were actually designed with the 4 legs or with the ugly brown things because it was actually to be a part of the design of your lounge room, as in the furniture. It was supposed to look like a piece of furniture to fit in with your lounge room. So that's a really nice segue into my next element, design, which I really want to unpack for you. So I am a graphic designer. I am a CSU graduate, and I think if any of my lecturers saw this graphic, their eyes would hurt really hard. What I want to talk about here is back to those jobs of the future. So design touches everything. So we see now how design has completely changed our hardware. So we don't have TVs now, we have flat screens. We have these computers that are, you know, again, flat screens. We've got, like all the kids here, they've got their iPads or their devices, and we've got our smartphones. So the design has completely changed because of the technology behind the design. Now, on top of that, we've got software. So back to our 8-year-old selves in the 80s, if we wanted a computer game, we had to, if you were lucky to have a Commodore 64, you'd have to go get it out of the cupboard, put it together, and maybe if you were lucky, you had a few games, and you'd have to go to a shop and physically buy a game and load it. Another really important element here I've got is UI and UX. So that's user interface and user experience. So the reason I've got source bottles here is because the user interface is the design, like the space between you and the screen or the device. And the user experience is how you use it. So you either have your perfect splat of tomato sauce or a big hot mess. Another thing I want to step you through here is probably the most important element, and that's the human being element. So I've got here an image of a toothbrush, and I use this in a lot of my presentations, and it's in reference to Larry Page, the co-founder of Google. So when Google are looking to acquire or invest in a company, they run the toothbrush test. So it's not about the team or the idea or the tech, it's will this product be used every single day, multiple times a day, just like your toothbrush. So if you think now of Google, if you're using Gmail or Maps or anything, like you are using it every day, if not multiple times a day. Another important element here is the cloud. So the cloud isn't the cloud. The cloud is back to that design element and STEM. Remember, we used to have those boxes, the towers with our computers. So because of STEM, we don't need a box with everything here. It's all decentralized and it's in the cloud, which is really a box somewhere else, but through the cloud you can connect. The 24/7 is pretty obvious. We can be connected and have all these things. Then instant 24/7, we can access this stuff while we are on the toilet. Don't know if anyone does that. And then what I've got here last is the Alice in Wonderland reference. So if we take all of those tricks and tools and STEM and design, we kind of fall down this rabbit hole, this vortex, and we get sucked in. Now, what I really want to point out here is all of these things, from our hardware to our software, there's no barriers. There's no remote control. There's no going to the shop. There's no waiting for Sunday night. We are clicking in and we are tumbling down that rabbit hole. From Minecraft to Netflix, you do not have to click out. And that's a really important element. The social media reference there, that kind of scrolling, like when you're on Facebook, you just scroll, scroll, scroll. You don't have to go anywhere else. And that's kind of all those design tools and all that STEM working together. So we've unpacked a lot of stuff. I've talked about a lot of things here, and I think it's really important that we unpack it because Minecraft, kind of the timing and the technology is kind of the perfect mix. And I don't want to talk you through Minecraft. I want to play a clip, but I just wanted to kind of go back to that reference at the start of the dictionary and Wikipedia, the science of craft. So Minecraft was originally called Cave Game, and I'm very reluctant to actually refer to it as a game. So it's about kids actually have to mine and craft their world. So if you imagine your 8-year-old self, who here played Pac-Man or Donkey Kong? Yeah? So imagine if you could have played Pac-Man or Donkey Kong and he designed the whole scenario and the scene and played with your friends. Like, how awesome would that be? So that's exactly what's going on with Minecraft. But I've got this short clip I want to play for you, and then we'll dive a bit deeper.
Welcome to I'm Your Target Demographic, and welcome to What is Wednesday. Today we are covering what is Minecraft. So back in 2009, a version of the game Minecraft went online for PC gamers to try out. It was called an alpha build, meaning it was very much in flux and would be adapted and updated as users gave feedback. Minecraft had a very unique look, harkening back to the days when games were made of pixel art. I hesitate to really call Minecraft a game, as it's much more of an experience, and deeming it solely a game might undercut its impact. What you do in Minecraft is very much up to you. The basic mechanic, though, is that you wander through this world and break down resources that you find, which allow you to then build your own structures, weapons, etc. Some resources are difficult to find, so exploration is also key. There are 4 modes that you can play in the game. The first is survival, where you have a life bar and you must find resources and build while also being on the lookout for enemies, such as zombies and something unique to Minecraft called a creeper. If you want to just build, which many players do, you can play via the creative mode, which gives you access to all the resources in the game and allows you to navigate your map by flying, so you can build all sorts of giant structures. People try to build recreations of real-life landmarks, or objects from popular fiction, or even just massive sprawling castles for their character to inhabit. The third mode is called Adventure Mode, where you can build or experience adventures built by other players. Maybe they build a really dangerous map that you must navigate safely. This is a chance to share fun adventures with others or just play maps that others have created. Lastly, there's Spectator Mode, where you can visit maps without fear, as you're not really interacting with their world at all. This is best if you just want to see fun creations and wander through the maps without the restrictions of it being an actual adventure. Maybe you see someone's really cool creation and you want to see it in-game, so you'd use Spectator Mode to check it out yourself. They won't even know you're on their map as you're totally invisible. So was this successful? Yes. By January 2011, Minecraft surpassed 1 million purchases. and at this point there was no advertising except for word of mouth. Creator Marcus Persson, known as Notch, began working on the game alone, but eventually created the company Mojang to hold the profits he was getting. Eventually, with the skyrocketing of the game's popularity, Notch began looking for a corporation to buy Minecraft, and ended up selling the Mojang company and the intellectual property rights to Microsoft for $2.5 billion in 2014. $2.5 billion? Now let's see how profitable Minecraft became. In 2014, Minecraft was one of the best-selling video games of all time, with about 60 million copies sold and 100 million users. It had branched out to consoles, becoming one of the most popular and most played games on both the Xbox and PlayStation online stores. Now that Microsoft had the intellectual property rights, they began to make money by licensing it out, such as the game Minecraft Story Mode, which was an adventure game set in the Minecraft world and created by Telltale Games. Even now, quite a few years after its inception, Minecraft continues to be a huge platform. YouTube and Twitch are massive venues where people will create and play while others watch and comment. Even schools are beginning to get on board, with students from around the world getting free or cheap access to Minecraft. The British Museum even launched a plan to recreate its building and its exhibits, all inside the game, with help from the public. There's even an annual convention called Minecon, which held its most recent convention in London with about 10,000 attendees and is the largest convention held for one single video game. Another exciting thing for Minecraft's future is the news that it will be available for a few different virtual reality and augmented reality systems. On the screen, you're seeing a demonstration of Minecraft being viewed through an augmented reality system called Microsoft HoloLens. This will give people a whole new way to view their Minecraft creations in incredibly immersive ways. If you think that looks cool, check out this part where they can use the HoloLens to display their Minecraft level on a flat surface. Mind-blowing. Minecraft, while at its core is indeed a video game, is really a sandbox. You can engage with the world however you want, by building or by destroying, by flying through the skies and just looking, or by trying to survive the darkness and the horrors that come out at night. This is a game, but it's also a learning tool and a way for people to communicate with others from all over the world. That is Minecraft. So thanks for watching, and make sure you head over to facebook.com/IAYTD and make sure you subscribe. We'll see you next week.
So that video is actually 5 years old, so it's kind of out of date, but I just wanted to show you because there's so much more to Minecraft, and I want you to think about all the STEM and all the design techniques that kind of get kids hooked on it. And I would be, I'd even go as far to say that they're kind of learning like a global view from the start, which is really interesting because they can be connected, and like you saw, they can view and look at other things and watch it on YouTube and film themselves and put it on YouTube. Like, there's so much more to it. When they refer to that sandbox, I think I've asked Siobhan or a few other people, any parents here actually have their own Minecraft account and play. So these kids are like building these epic structures in Minecraft. They're actually then modding and coding their own content as well. And no one's teaching them, they're kind of figuring it out. And that's what we mean by that sandbox. So it's literally a sandbox that you get your hands in, you get dirty, and you kind of figure it out. I think Minecraft teaches so much more about collaboration, and I would even go as far to say that it's giving kids some basic business skills. Now that might sound all grand for you, and you're probably just here to hear this one thing about how do we keep our kids safe online and how do we monitor that screen time. So I think it's time we talk about using these tools, STEM and technology, as either a force for good or a force for evil. So we've got any Star Wars fans in the house? Yeah? It's time we have the talk. So I don't know if you've seen the ads for e-safety on the telly at all. Has anyone seen those ads? So e-safety is a federal government initiative, and I've gone through the website, and it's really fantastic, and it's all about keeping, about how to have the conversation with keeping kids safe online. I think the major premise of the e-safety initiative is about how to start that conversation and what to say. And I think they frame a lot of it around indirect questioning. So they're saying, you know, to ask your kids, you know, what's the school policy on, you know, bullying? You know, what's the policy on having your phones at school? Like, not asking the kids directly what they're doing. And like I've been pointing out all along, I hope you can kind of see that things have accelerated so fast. When was the iPad again? 2020? So we started off with this cool thing, a bit of a novelty, and now it's just like 24/7 we can get it. I'm not here to judge or tell anyone how to parent, but I will tell you this: if you tell your kids fairy tales, or even worse, nothing, that's exactly what you'll get back. I don't know if anyone's been watching The Hunting on SBS. Yeah, it's very confronting, isn't it? It's very, very confronting. So we're talking, the average age here, I reckon, would be 8. And this is more about those teenagers and just the world we live in now. Oh my God, I feel like a dinosaur, but it is very different. And us parents or carers, you know, we're trying to catch up, and people don't know what to do, don't know what to say, don't know where to start. They don't even know what they're doing or what they're playing. Is it safe? And I think we need to kind of just take a step back and have a bit of control. So as always, I've got a few hacks for you. So I've got a Facebook friend, Gabriel, if he ever watches this, he gets all the credit. He has this thing where with his kids, he's like, you can play in the school holidays. His kids are 12 plus. He's like, you can play 24/7, I don't care. But the deal is, you actually have to build your own game and come and show me how to play the game, and then whatever time you spend doing that, you can match with doing whatever you want to do. So obviously what's happening there is he's just redirecting, and then the kids go off and build a game to, like, of course, because they're going to like prove their parents wrong, and then they spend all their time actually building their own game and coding. And that's exactly what Minecraft is, except there's probably no game at the end of it. Like, it is a game, but they kind of got that end result. And I think if we can kind of reframe it and redirect and put some boundaries and timeframes around our kids, that can kind of claw back a bit of that control. Because I think it's not the kids' fault. Like, they've kind of got this thing, and, you know, within 8 years, it's, you know, come across so many things in our life, and I think a lot of people don't know how to claw that time back. So I've got some stuff here. Does everyone know how to back up their phone and their devices? Does everyone know how to do that? Well, I suggest that you should do that every month. So if you get hacked or if something bad happens, you can actually just delete and reinstall. For my Josh, I have found giving him some time frames, like, all right, mate, we've got 20 minutes. It's time for you to wrap up, and let's you know, put the iPad away. I think it's really important to get kids out of bedrooms and into open spaces, so you can kind of keep an eye. You might not know what they're like, the essence of Minecraft, but you can kind of keep an eye on it. And if you want to win Parent of the Year, turn the modem off. And if you want to go all out, unplug the power cord and take it with you when you leave the house. I think that's a really good one. If anyone's got any other great hacks, please feel free to share them. I don't want to scare you, I want to empower you. There are tools, especially through that eSafety website, and we'll put some resources up, and you can contact Siobhan and we'll share a whole bunch of resources with you. Now, in practical sense, what does all this mean? So we've talked about STEM or STEAM and TED and jobs for the future, but I believe the future is now. I'm still waiting for my Jetson car, so I don't worry about the future. I'm living in the now. So I took this screenshot on the first week of August, 1st of August, so 20 days ago. I've searched developer. There's 63,000 jobs for a developer. I think I did chef as a comparison, and there was like 3,500. So we are not producing enough graduates to fill these positions. So this isn't in some future. This is now. When we talk about the future of work and what I mean about it being now, this other job here, the Android developer, So it's $600, $650 a day. It's a pretty good gig, I think, and it's project work. So they're probably building an app or working on a project. So what that means is if you're highly skilled or you have those skills, you can kind of pick and choose. It's very competitive. You can pick and choose the projects you work on. You can go hard and work on a project and then maybe have a couple of months off. You can work remotely, whatever. Over on the right there, I've got a job from ZipPay. Has anyone heard or used ZipPay or Zip Money or Afterpay? So it's actually a role as a product manager, but you can see there, when we talk about Minecraft or social media, AI or blockchain or the future, there's actually many armies of people that actually have to build this stuff. So these digital products, they're not a physical product, but they still are a product and they need to be managed. If you don't know what to do, just hack it and figure it out. Ask Google, as we've seen before, and jump in and play. If you create your own Minecraft account, you'll have your kids over your shoulder, like in your ear, telling you what to do and how dag you are. Now, if you have a $2.5 billion startup or gaming idea, this is where you can find me.